All right. Hello, everyone. It's really wonderful to see you all. I can see most of you. I am so excited to be able to offer up this second stop, drop, roll, respond exercise for our IFS community. So if you'd like, I'd love to see where people are joining us from. We always have a pretty broad reach of where people are coming to us from. Japan, case in point, Winnipeg, Canada, Denver, hello Denver, Fort Collins, more Canada. Welcome to everyone, Australia. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So as you're coming in and getting settled, I'll give you a little bit of an overview here of what we're going to be doing in our time today. And then we'll go ahead and get started with the exercise. So we'll do a little bit of an overview, introduction about me, for those of you who may not know me. We'll do a little bit of an introduction about me and then the process, and then we'll get started with our exercise. So this exercise is experiential. Again, this is our second time doing this. We have been doing, Center has been putting on community exercises and community events for about the last 9 months now. And we continue to get amazing feedback about what it means to be a collective of seekers, people who are on their own journey of self-transformation through the lens of IFS, gathering together every month to do some work together. So this is an experiential exercise. If you'd like, you can follow along with paper, pen. I know I had that on the front sheet. So if you don't have a piece of paper and pen, that's fine, but quite literally a blank piece of paper or lined, if that works for you, is awesome to have to be able to do this exercise. But take it at your own pace. If there's things that feel like they're too much, if you're getting backlash from your inner world inside, pause, mute, take a break, do whatever you need to do, and then you can rejoin us. I did already have somebody in the chat ask if there was going to be a recording for today, and the answer to that is yes. I meant to record it last time, but even though I'm a co-founder of a digital platform, I'm actually not super techie. So I totally forgot to hit the record button last time. So this time the thing is recording, and we will have it available on YouTube for people that are not able to join it live like we all are. So with that being said, I will go over here a little bit about me. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah Hui. I'm the co-founder of Center, and I am a trauma therapist in Denver, Colorado. I've been in private practice about 13 years. And as you can see from that long list, my passion is integration. I don't think any one thing has the amazing ability to solve all the pain we gather from our experiences in childhood, but my passion is really a matter of what works, when, where, and why. IFS, EMDR, neurofeedback, yoga, the whole thing. And I feel really privileged and fortunate to be able to offer up this space to you all. So with that being said, the overall experience today is going to be about 35 minutes long. We'll have some time at the end for some group shares. So the first piece that we're going to be doing is the stop drop. And that's going to be about 10 minutes. It'll be maybe a little bit more of a traditional feeling writing exercise to begin with at the beginning, and then we'll kind of shift it a little bit halfway through that and do some more self-reflection pieces. And then the roll is a piece that we're going to take and really kind of focus in on. So for those of you that are familiar with the IFS model, that would be the F of focus for IFS practitioners out there, but we're going to focus in on a particular piece of what comes out during the self-exploration. And then the respond piece that we're going to be doing is going to be a letter that we're going to respond to the things that have come up inside of us during our exercise today. So Stop, drop, roll, respond is going to be the way it's going to go. We'll spend about 10 minutes on each section of it. During the times that I'm going to have you all do the writing, I will be putting just some of that nice music on in the background so that you can kind of take your moment and do the self-exploration. I will be doing it with you. I really enjoyed doing it last time with you all, so I will be doing it with you. And as we're going through this, we're not too big of a group. We have about 20 people on, so we're not a massive group, which is actually really nice because there's the ability to ask questions. So if we're going through this and you have questions that come up, or there's something that you don't understand, or you need more clarification on, absolutely throw it in the chat. Even if it's in the middle of one of the writing pieces or whatnot, we can still be answering questions via chat without impacting other people's self-exploration that they're doing in the moment. So absolutely bring the questions in, and we will go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I'm gonna have you do, if you have your single white piece of paper, is I'll have you fold your piece of paper into thirds, kind of like you would a kind of a presentation, just folding it into thirds, kind of like a brochure, if you will. I don't know if there's any elementary school teachers. I don't know if that's hot dog or hamburger style. I don't know, whatever. But folding it into thirds, something along those lines. So taking a moment and just folding your piece of paper into thirds. And if you don't necessarily, if you're driving, right, while you're doing this, or you're in the middle of making dinner or laying in your bed, that's totally fine. If you don't have a piece of paper in front of you, it's 100% fine. You'll be able to still do the exercise, but just more through a self-reflective lens than the actual externalized piece of it. So we'll go ahead and get that piece of paper folded into thirds. And then the first part of this is on the left-hand side, we're going to be doing the stop drop piece. So I always tell people the hardest thing to do in any experiential that you're going to do is to actually stop long enough to do the exercise. It doesn't matter what the exercise is, right? Like the hardest piece is actually stopping. So all of you that are here on this call have done the hardest piece. I don't care what happens from here on out. You have already done the hardest piece, which is just creating that intentional time for you to be able to connect with what's going on inside, right? It's kind of like if you're moving your body, right? The hardest piece is just creating the time a lot of the time. And then what happens when you're moving your body is less impactful than actually just making the time to do it, right? So the stop piece you have already done successfully. Congratulations, you are here. And the second piece, the step 2, is to drop your awareness. So for the next 5 minutes, you are going to free write whatever it is that you notice that's coming up inside you. So I get questions all the time on Center. Actually, the number one question that we get asked all the time in Center is, what is a trailhead? Can somebody please tell me what a trailhead is? So don't let that term confuse you. A trailhead is just a topic in IFS, right? That's the term that we use. In other language and other therapeutic language, they might use the term trigger or something that's challenging for you, right? It could be something that happened earlier in your day today. It could be a relationship that you have. It could be a body sensation. But whatever it is, this is your, like, I've seen this a million times, starting probably in 2nd grade, of just 5 minutes. I want you to write without picking your pen up for 5 minutes on whatever comes up. If you choose a specific topic, choose a specific topic. Oftentimes that works a little bit more to generate some activity, but choose something that you're like, yeah, I want to explore this a little bit further. I want to bring my awareness to this experience that's going on inside me. And remember, we want something that might be like a moderate level of intensity. So it might not be that you choose to bring your awareness to something that's a 9 on a scale of 10 for intensity, right? So somewhere around that 5-ish area. but just letting your awareness stay with that. And for the next 5 minutes as the music plays, I want you to write and keep writing. Don't stop writing. And for those of you who are not writing, you can just choose to bring some gentle awareness towards what's coming up inside, even if you're not capturing it with your pen and paper. So I'm going to go ahead and get the music back on here for you all, and we will start that 5 minutes right now. All right, finishing up your last sentence or two, your last thought on your left-hand column there. And as you start to finish, it might look something like that, right? Where you see there's just the writing in the left-hand column here of my 3-column sheet of paper. If you're like, oh, crud, my paper doesn't look like that, don't worry, it's fine. We are just starting with something like this. So the next piece that you'll see here on the screen is what I say circles and lines. So one of the things in the IFS community that's so important for us when we start to take just a free write like this, right? This is just the stuff that comes out in our everyday talk. If we were to talk to somebody about what was challenging about our day or what was challenging about our experience, it's just the stuff that comes out naturally for us. Now in IFS, one of the main tenets, right, is the belief that we are multiple, that we are not the things inside of us that are hard or challenging, the body sensations, the beliefs, the emotions, all of the things. We are not those hard things. And yet it's really important to start to see our experience through that lens of multiplicity. So for the next piece of this exercise, I want you, in whatever you just wrote out, even if you wrote on the whole piece of paper, it's fine. Whatever you wrote out, I want you to, number 1, circle all the emotions and body sensations when you go back over your writing that you just did. And number 2, I want you to underline all your thoughts or beliefs. So 1 and 2, thoughts and beliefs are underlined, body sensations and emotions are circled. And then if you have a more regular IFS practice and you know certain parts of you, like, for example, as I was writing, I was like, oh, there's my inner critic. Like, you can just kind of tag or note a part if you already have some sort of connection or awareness with your parts. So taking just a few minutes now to go through and circle, underline those experiences. right, so finishing that piece up. We'll move on to the next stage here. So as you're going through this now, your piece of paper might look something like this, where you have some circles and you have some lines and you have some different things that you're starting to notice. So taking just a few breaths, we don't need to take a ton of time. Taking just a few breaths and starting to notice, kind of scanning from the top of the writing all the way down, where your awareness wants to linger. Is there an aspect? Is there a body sensation? Is there emotion? Is there a piece that feels like it's calling to you? So just kind of noticing that piece of where you'd like to focus your attention in on for this next segment, and then place a star next to that body sensation, thought, emotion, part, belief, whatever it is. And then once you have that star, just taking a moment in IFS, one of the things that's really important to us is that as we proceed with our awareness and our inner relationship building, we always are checking to make sure that we have permission to stay with whatever the thing is that's coming up. So taking a moment and noticing that body sensation, belief, experience part, whatever it is, taking a moment to either close your eyes or gently soften your gaze. And just start to see, when you ask inside, does it feel like you have permission to stay with this particular aspect of your experience? If the answer is yes, you can just acknowledge that inside and offer up some appreciation. And if the answer is no, offering up appreciation for that no, and just taking a moment, a breath or two, to see what might need to happen in order for you to bring some awareness towards that experience. It might be helpful for concerned parts to know that we'll only be with that for about 7 minutes. It might be helpful to hear more about the fears or concerns that they would have of you being with that part. But if you get the sense that it's not okay for you to be with that experience, then on the next exercise here, I want you to just spend time with the concern or the fears or concerns that are there. Okay. So for those of you that do feel like you have permission inside to be with that, in the middle column of your piece of paper, we're going to do the next part of the exercise. Now, this is the place where it gets, I think, fun, a little bit funky. Is anybody familiar with two-handed journaling? Anybody? You can just raise your hand. Yeah, there's a couple people on here. I love a two-handed journaling exercise because when we get into our super logical left brain, for those of us who are especially right-handed, when we write right-handed, we are writing through parts. It's just the way it goes. Like, we are filtering it through our logical brain. When we are writing with our non-dominant hand, we are getting it more of the felt experience of what is going on. Now, for my clients that do this, I would say 30% of them are like, never ask me to do that again. That was the most awkward, uncomfortable. I hate it. Don't make me do it. So if it's not your vibe, that's fine. You can write with your dominant hand. It's totally fine. But if you would like to, I will move us on here to focus in for the next 5 minutes or so and ask this particular part of your experience what else it wants you to know. And with your non-dominant hand, you might draw things, you might write things out, but your vibe, your chant inside is going to be, okay, and what else? What else? What else? What else? Asking all of the analytical, all of the problem solving, all of the parts to see if they're willing to give space so you can just get to that place where you say, what else? What else? What else? So for the next 5 minutes, your task is to be able to use that middle column, non-dominant hand, and go to what else, what else, what else with that piece that you start. All right, off you go. Taking a moment to finish up your last thought. All right. So as you're there, your page might look something like this now, where you've got some stuff in the middle. You've got some of this additional information that you got as you were bringing your awareness towards this one aspect on this left-hand side here. So now, as you're there, here is I call it the $1 million question in IFS, right? So the question that we ask all the time using the lens of IFS is, how do you feel toward blank? Whatever it is, how do you feel toward that experience? So taking a moment and looking at that middle column, I want you to check and see just for a few moments how you feel toward that experience. And then as you're ready, we'll just kind of gently blink open or blink closed our eyes or soften our gaze. And for those of you that are noticing you're feeling curious or open, non-judgmental, kind, I'll invite you to share some of that energy toward this middle section as you are breathing over the next 2 to 3 minutes. So just continuing to share that compassion, that kindness that you find. And for those of you that are not feeling that way, that are feeling maybe critical or avoidant of the experience on the piece of paper, just taking a moment to bring your awareness toward this part of you that might be criticizing that, avoiding that. And just seeing if you can ask inside how that part might be trying to help. We know that all parts are welcome and all parts are trying to help, even if they do it in kind of a funky way. So just asking that critical one or that avoidant one what they think will be helpful if they criticize you about this, or they help you avoid this in some way. And oftentimes critics will show up because ultimately they want something good for us in the terms of, I don't want you to feel bad like that. I don't want you to feel sad or angry or disconnected, and we can acknowledge them with yes, yes, yes. And we have a little bit of a different way that we go about bringing that change now through curiosity and kindness versus criticism. Makes total sense that that was protective at a certain point. And now seeing if that criticism or that avoidance or really anything that's getting in the way of you being able to be non-judgmental or kind toward that center column, just seeing if it's willing to give you some space. And then as you're ready, starting to gently blink open your eyes, and we'll end with the third column here on the right-hand side now. So this is the ever important piece of going inside, of being able to unblend a little bit from what's going on and then befriend the experience that's happening inside. A lot of change and transformation can happen just by offering a compassionate, non-judgmental, kind response toward the thing that is activated in your system. So in the right-hand column with your dominant hand, I want you to take 5 minutes and write a letter toward this center column, toward the body sensation, the emotion. And if you need a little help to get into that kind place, it might be helpful to think about what you would say if somebody else said they were struggling with this particular thing. Oftentimes we will respond to other people with, oh gosh, I totally understand. That's so hard. And what else do you want me to know? And I'm here to help. So on the next 5 minutes, when I turn the music back on, I want you to write a letter in response to that center column from a place of kindness or curiosity, what we would call self-energy in the IFS lens. All right, away you go. Told you I wasn't tech savvy. I was just talking while I was muted. So for those of you that are still writing, just taking a moment, and as you wind this piece down, maybe just getting curious about how this part feels towards you. Might not have any idea who you are. And really importantly, just asking what this part or experience or body sensation might need from you as you move forward. And then as we move toward closing, just taking a moment, again, eyes open, softly gazed, or with your eyes closed, and offering up some gratitude and appreciation for your entire inner world. The parts of you that spoke up and shared with you today, the parts of you that held space for you to be able to connect with this particular aspect of your inner world. Maybe noticing where you're feeling that self energy a little bit more in or around the body as you completed that last column, that writing to that part of you that was activated. And then as you're ready, starting to gently blink open your eyes. And so we'll have just about, I don't know, 6 or 7 minutes here to share. If that feels right for you. One of the wonderful things about being in a group like this is, because you can do this exercise on your own, it's definitely possible, but there's something lovely about knowing that there's people from all over the world gathered right now that are working to access their self-energy a little bit more. So if it feels right for you and your parts would like to share maybe something that was tricky, something you were surprised by, intentions that your system had, you can go ahead and just unmute yourself, because there's not too big of a group here, and or raise your hand if that feels better for you, or drop it in the chat if you don't want to unmute yourself. Awesome. Ari?
Yeah, thank you so
Hi.
much. Hi. I actually didn't really expect that I will go over a lot of emotion and I also realized that the word of proud was a triggering word for me. I didn't realize till now. And also that writing in non-dominant hand helped me to understand more in the depths of what kind of feeling having in around this the word of proud. And it's really helped me to understand in more in the depths and also in a different angle than I usually do that part work by myself. And I found it really helpful to separate like 3 phases, and it's complete one session in one paper. So I truly appreciate that you gifted this beautiful opportunity for us, and we could explore. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I see somebody in the chat here. Hold on. Oh, can you take down the screen so we can see everyone? Yes, absolutely. Hold on. Stop share. There. Can we all see each other now? There we are, beautiful people. Thanks, Catherine. All right, anybody else? What were you surprised by? I was surprised. I noticed a new trailhead. I've been doing this work for 10 years. And I was like, oh, shit, I didn't know that that was a thing for me. There we go. There's something new. What about y'all? What were you surprised by?
Hi. I was going to put up my hand, but I couldn't find it fast enough.
No worries. Hi, Christina.
Hi. Yeah, I was surprised because I went to an old part that came up that is the part that always thinks that I should be doing better and those kinds of things. Lots of people familiar with a part like that. And I've come to realize, a while back how young that part is and how far back it goes. But today it came out that oh, I guess I just had a new realization about my role in perpetuating some of the patterns that part gets frustrated about. And you know, I was always aware I tend to take on too much and then I get tired and constantly like up at the edge of burnout and just trying to scale back just enough that I don't quite burn out and all that kind of stuff. But today really realizing um, it's not fully formed, but there's like a little bit of a habit of becoming the victim of my own circumstances. So I guess not that I wasn't somewhat aware of that, but it just articulated it a little bit more. So, and some emotion coming up around that part being seen and heard, and which always does. So, got to go back to that part a little more often.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. We, in our IFS, and I'm sure in other therapeutic communities, but in the IFS community, we use the word subgroup when we're also like, oh, me too, right? Like, so I would subgroup everything you just said, like, yep, subgroup. Lovely. We'll have time for one more share. Anybody else feeling like that would be supportive for them? Tiffany. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi everyone. Hi. I wanted to share because I think maybe other people might be able to relate. Um, for me, the part was a part that actually feels really tired and exhausted by doing a lot of like all the therapy or healing work, including like trying to ingest like podcasts about therapy, and just overall like even showing up today, I think to attend this, knowing that like, there's another part that was saying like we should do the work. We know that if we can just do an IFS meditation, this part will feel better, and not being able to bring myself to do it. And this part was really sad and felt really discouraged because sometimes healing doesn't look linear. And so um, one of the things it thought was that like, well, if we feel the same, did anything really change? And I think by doing this exercise, even getting to go in like our self energy and just sitting with it, and even addressing the other critical part or manager parts that were like forcing us to kind of like go through a lot of other like maintenance actions in our day to day, but to like sit with all of them and remind them like, hey, we all want the same things, that we just have different approaches, but that like coming from a place of compassion would be more helpful. And then to write that letter to that part in self, I think it kind of changed how I was trying to think and logically into doing more or being okay with it versus like getting to do this. I reminded that part that like having fun is also important, and that I asked it to share whenever it had something it maybe wanted to do that would bring it more joy, instead of only feeling like there's only work, work, work to do. So I think I feel like more in touch with that part now, where that part feels like it can trust me more to kind of bring up like, hey, here's something that would be more rejuvenating and more joyful, so that it doesn't feel like it's just burnt out all the time.
Lovely, Tiffany. Thank you so much for sharing. Sounds like there's a theme of that. My trailhead was being sick. and how, because I think I'm getting sick, and ooh, my managers are like, we do not like that. This is panicky and overwhelmed. So anyway, Tiffany, thank you so much for sharing that, because I resonate with that. And there's others that are nodding their head on the chat too, going, yep, absolutely. Lovely. Well, let me see if there's any more questions in the chat here. Just some thank yous. So we are at the top of the hour here. So I think I should do this for an hour and a half next time instead of an hour, but whatever. So if you'd like, I will spend the next 10 minutes for those of you that have an interest in talking about how you can continue the journey moving forward. So as I mentioned before, I am the co-founder of Center, which is the comprehensive digital platform that will allow you to continue this work, your IFS journey, in a really, really unique and special way. So for those of you that want to stay on and learn a little bit more about that, I will do a quick overview of that for the next 10 minutes. And then for those of you that are like, oh, I can't get enough, we have all of our classes. We actually have 4 more classes this month. We went a little wild this month. So we have the Collective Unburdening tomorrow night, right about the same time, which is working with a part of you that's burdened towards greater liberation in a group format, led by Michelle Glass. We're also doing a European-friendly time zone one on Wednesday morning at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So it's 7 p.m. British Standard Time on Wednesday. Then Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're doing the IFS and Center Basics class, where we'll go over just some IFS basics if people have questions about the model, and then go over a little bit more about how to use Center. And then Thursday, I am so incredibly honored. We are doing our first Cultivating Compassion group event on internalized homophobia. So working with the parts of us that are collectively holding burdens around sexual identity, things of that nature. And so that will be facilitated by Alicio Rizzo. He is out in London, I believe. So come to all of them, come to none of them, whatever. I will do the next 10 minutes giving you that overview. But I really appreciate all of you who are able to join. And we do this every single month. The date is going to be different in September. It'll be on a Thursday instead of a Monday, but we will be doing this again. And it is recorded this time. So if you want to go back and look at it on our YouTube channel, it will be there. So thank you for everybody who came, and we'll do a quick overview of Center here. So how many of you are Center users already? How many people are Center users already? Okay, awesome. So I will just give you guys a quick overview of some of the things that you can do moving forward from here. So continue the journey. We all know, I like to tell people that Center is your place for peace. It's a place for a path, and it's a place for, what just happened to my screen? It's your place for peace, a place for a path, and a place for a plan. So let's look at peace here. So when you have a tough moment, when the activation comes, it's really challenging to try and get to that place of unblending, to get to that befriending, right? We did this whole exercise today to help us get into a little bit more self-energy, right? It's helpful to have that guidance on the outside. So Center has, with literally the click of a button, an entire experience that will walk somebody through how to get from a place of being blended to being unblended, and being able to move through some self-energy meditations, things like that. We also do a pre and post self-energy assessment, so people can start to see, oh, from the time that I started this till the time that I'm done, I've increased my access to self-energy by 35%, right? Because it's really important that we start to see that payoff of like, oh, when I go in, I feel better, right? Because that's oftentimes the last thing we want to do when we're struggling, is go inside and be curious about what's happening. For some reason, I don't know why. Oh, you guys aren't seeing my screen anymore. That's why you're feeling a little confused. All right, hold on. Let me get this back up. Hold just one second here. Share my screen. All right. All right, can you see my screen now? There you go. Okay, awesome. So it's that one place for being able to find peace. This video is not playing the way that I wanted to, but it goes through an entire overview of what that entire chatbot looks like, what that entire workflow does to be able to, with the click of a button, when you're having that tough moment, be able to get a little bit more access to self-energy, a little bit more guidance when you're feeling tough with that. For those of you that are Center users, have you guys used that platform, used that feature yet? It's one of our #1 most used features. I use it all the time because when the washing machine starts, it doesn't matter that I'm a therapist that have been doing this for forever. Like when the washing machine starts, it's on spin cycle. I don't care who you are. So I use this this all the time in my my work. So that's that for peace. Place. So as you're doing this work, right? One of the things about this work that's different than some of the other pieces of self-reflection is that we have all these different interconnections that we want to make sure that we're nurturing consistently and showing up for. And that work doesn't need to be onerous on top of actually doing the work itself, right? So Center is one place for everything in your inner world, all of your parts, all of your trailheads, your self-energy, everything that belongs to your inner world. It's one place for everything there. So you'll see in the video on the right, we have a really sophisticated parts bio that can go from burdened to unburdened in the journey of the part, right? So getting to know parts, sometimes they show up just as like a body sensation, and then you get to know them as a part, and then they become unburdened, and then they have a whole different personality profile that shows up. We have the whole history of parts. We have everything in there. Trailheads, we've got histories of trailheads. I'll go into more of that on Wednesday of why it's so important to have one place for all of this. But the big takeaway is that consistent connection to your inner world is the most significant determining factor to long-term success in the IFS model, right? We can have these really big, powerful IFS sessions with therapists or, retreats or whatnot, and that's really cool, but that is not by and large what changes our world through the lens of IFS. It's that internal consistent connection, bringing that awareness inside, building that self-to-part connection that's so important. And Center is one place. So you don't have, we just had somebody message us the other day and she goes, well, I'm getting all my binders out, right? Because we get binders and parts journals and this, and it's all over the place. So it's one place for your entire inner world and journey of self-transformation to live. All right, let's go next. Oh, that one didn't, I don't know why that's not in there. Anyway, oh, this is the one. This is the path, right? So one of the other things that I notice in my own work, and I notice in my work with my clients is, okay, here's the deal. We really want to do the work in between sessions. We know that it's good for us. We have it all in one place, but now what the heck do we do, right? What do I do this meditation, or do I read this book, or do I kind of like what the other person who shared on the thing, there's so many, do I listen to this podcast? Do I do this journaling exercise? And the really nice thing about Center is that we have a path set for you to where you can just open it up and it will tell you the next thing to do on your journey. Not because most of it is us telling you what to do, it's your own journey telling you what to do on your own journey. So by setting goals for connecting with certain parts or setting goals for connecting with certain trailheads, everything is there on the home screen. You'll see it, just your journey, one thing right after another, meditations to do, parts to check in with, it's all right there. So if you're like, I don't know what I really want to do something, I've got the vibe, I know that that's what should be happening. It'll take you in and out of exercises, in and out of classes like this. So if you're enrolled in a class, if you're connecting with parts, everything is the path. It's right there. You don't have to think about what to do next. Just do the next thing on your own journey. It's all right there. So Supercharge your IFS journey. We talked about the place. So add or update a part or add or update a trailhead from today. I'm going to go in and add my new trailhead that I found from today. I had no idea that being sick was a trailhead for me, but definitely figured that out today. So I'm going to go in and just document some of the stuff that came up in the journaling exercise from today. Then, as we talked about before, that piece, being able to have that one-click support in those tough moments is going to not only help you regulate in those tough times, but it's going to advance your journey too, because all of that information and self-reflection that you're doing is going to come in when you are using the app in other ways. And then plan how to use this moving forward. Just do the next step on your plan, whether it's connecting with a part that you set the intention to connect with today, or connecting with the trailhead further, or doing a self-energy meditation. It's all there. So when people are like, how do I use this from today? Well, that's how you can use it. And then, as I shared a little bit before, this is your host of different events that are going on this week. We are absolutely dedicated, myself and my development team, to the belief that everyone deserves to thrive. So even if you're not part of Center, even if you don't use the app, you don't care about any of that stuff, these events are all free, open to the public. They're great for clients. They're great for people who are doing this work on their own, who don't have the availability for lots of different reasons to use a professional. So all of these classes are here. You guys all signed up and attended today, so you know the process and what it looks like. But that's the list of the 4 we have the rest of this week. And then the next stop, drop, and roll will be September 28th from 6 to 7. So Thursday instead of a Tuesday. So I just want to thank you. Again, I shared it at the end, but I really want to thank you for sharing your time and your energy. I always get something out of these events, so I appreciate you carving that time out and joining with us as we are here. And if you have any other questions, feel free to raise your hand or throw them in the chat. Otherwise, I hope to see you at one of our other events this week. We would love to see you there. So thank you, everyone.